up? I'm Scotty. I'm a lead developer here at Kajabi, and today I've got my good friend Craig Pretzinger and Neil Tricarico. So I introduced these guys to Kajabi about a year ago, almost to the day, right?
Yeah.
And within that time, they've not only become Kajabi heroes, but actually are approaching six figures, right? In like a couple weeks here.
Yeah. Yes.
That's amazing, dude. So
Very
hey,
exciting.
Craig, Neil, I just want to say welcome and good jobby.
Glad to be
I had
here.
to do
Glad
it.
to be here.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, what is Agency Vault in a nutshell?
Agency Vault solves for an insurance agent's three greatest challenges. So whether it be processes and optimizing the agency itself, to hiring and identifying the perfect candidate, and then teaching how to utilize different platforms therein, and then sales, which is the third vault, if you will, that we coach and train on how to skyrocket your sales. So it's super exciting.
Nice, that's awesome. So, Craig, this is a very important question. I got this list of questions here because I wanted to be super prepared. This is like on the top of my list. I want you to take me back to that moment when you found out that I was going to be doing the interview and not Kenny Kajabi.
Well, it was new, uncharted territory. I'll spin it on you. You also probably were a little surprised.
Well, I got this.
Going way back and knowing each other. It's exciting that we're able to do this together.
Yeah, I got this text thread and it says, I said to you, so it looks like it was unanimously decided that I was going to be doing the interview with an emoji face of like shock and horror. And then you said, but what about Kenny Kajabi, ... broken heart, sobbing emoticon.
Well,
What's that about?
I'm stunned. I'm speechless, and usually that's not the case. We jokingly like to say between us when we're working on when we're progin, as you would say. I'm the Kenny and he's the Travis. We have different personas that we kind of put on each
Figure that
other.
out once and for all yet?
We have not.
No.
We're still
We got new information.
we just got to meet Kenny again, and still we're not sure.
Yeah.
So,
That's good. I'm joking around with you because obviously we go way back, and it's really cool to see what you guys have been able to do in the last year. Pretty amazing. But just to let everyone know how we know each other, you and my lady partner in crime have been friends since kids, pretty much, right?
yeah, I was at the hospital when she was born. So a long time.
So since in the womb, basically.
Right, yeah.
Awesome. So your dads actually met in college, right?
Yep.
They were fraternity brothers.
They were.
And then at USC, right? And then later they ended up buying houses on the same cul-de-sac.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you guys just used to play it up and go nuts and
Play it
sell
up.
candy and do all sorts of stuff.
We're
right?
the ringleaders of Robin Road, so we would run the show, order the other kids around.
That's awesome. So you went to the same high school, and then you guys met in high school, or?
Well, we too have. Why don't
We two have known each other for a number of years. I think a similar kind of story. Our parents met first through some mutual friends. And I'm actually in Jen's grade, so I'm in between Craig and his sister. And Craig and I got to be friends over the years because our parents were friends, but I think it mostly took off when we went to University of Arizona. So Craig's a year ahead of me. I went out to check out University of Arizona, spent the weekend with him, had an absolute freaking blast, and then our friendship kind of took off from there.
Yeah.
And then we've been scheming and dreaming ever since.
What do you guys say there? Is it beer down? Beard down?
Bear down.
Bear down.
I can never remember that.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bust your chops and say you went to ASU, but
No, you can't say
I
that.
missed my opportunity. I didn't set it up correctly.
Right.
So it's kind of funny that you guys met, yours and Jen's parents met in college, and then you guys met in college. So my question is, when are you guys going to find your cul-de-sac?
Well,
We're working on it.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I've actually got the cul-de-sac picked out for us in Fiji. That's our big next milestone.
Are you a Fiji guy or are you a
Safasi
Hawaii
Island.
guy?
I'm a little both. I mean, I don't see that there'd be a challenge with either.
Sounds good.
Hawaii's a good stop on the way to Fiji.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up in San Marino, went away to Arizona in college. decided to kind of settle down there, right?
Right.
You started a family, bought a house, that whole thing. And so you and Jen had kind of disconnected for a while, right?
Sure.
And it was at some point, like 7 or 8 years ago, that you guys reconnected, and that's when we met. So over that time, you know, you started coming and visiting like once or twice a year, right? Usually
Right.
around the 4th of July
Uh-huh.
or Christmas. And we'd get into some mischief, but we always ended up talking business and ideas and things
Right.
like that, right? So it was about a year ago, I think, almost to the day. We're sitting on a roof because that's what you do at night in Newport Beach, right? So you can go to the roof.
Go to the roof.
Go to the roof.
To the roof.
And I had been working at Kajabi for a little under a year, and we hadn't talked about it at all. And so it'd been probably, I don't know, almost a year since we'd probably last talked. And you started telling me about this idea that you had. And I just kind of was listening with a smirk on my face because I feel, I'm like, all right, stop talking. Like, let me tell you about where I'm working because I think it might be important. So it's kind of funny because we had that conversation, and then I think it was like, what, 3 months later, you guys launched, right? Like in October?
Yeah. Well, we launched in February, but we started on the platform in.
Oh, you started working.
Started
Right,
working
yeah.
on the Kajabi platform in October.
Oh, so it's been an even shorter timeline.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
really we've been live since February. So what?
February 8th.
4 or 5 months.
So 5 months and 4 days.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. Okay, so that makes this even more impressive. So you started working on it in October. You launched in February. And how long did it take you to hit Kajabi Hero status?
Less than a month.
No,
right?
no, it's like less than 2 weeks. Kajabi Hero is 10,000.
I remember because I was watching the numbers. And I'm like,
It's 10,000.
no, 1,000.
Oh, 1,000.
Oh, 1,000? Then it was
we hit
probably
it
within the
less than a
first
week.
less than a week.
Less
Yeah,
than a
a few
week.
days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I thought it was 10,000.
Yeah, 10,000 was within the first month,
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yeah. So, and then at this point, you're 5 months in, right? And you're going to be at 6 figures here pretty soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably within the next 2 weeks.
yeah. We're at 84 today.
It's insane. How, like, did you guys expect that was going to happen? I mean, how crazy is this for you?
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we think we have the stuff. We've thought we've had the stuff actually for a number of years, but the Kajabi has created the platforms for us to get it out there quickly and for people to consume it pretty easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Along those lines, I can't imagine trying to put together. I won't say any of the pseudo competitors, but trying to put together a site and have the functionality that we've been able to do. Just, you know, the merchant services, like everything, it's the whole package.
Yeah.
And without that, there's no way. 2 sales guys being able to embrace this technology and actually put together something that not only works and functions, but is able to get us to 6 figures in 5 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, Kajabi can drop the mic. You know?
Okay, so a lot of people hear that and they might think that sounds like an overnight success, but that's not the case here, right? We all know that like there's almost no such thing as an overnight success. So I want you guys to go back as far as you want to go and just pick the beginning and tell us like, okay, what got you to that fateful night on the roof in Newport Beach?
All right, cool. I mean, I'll take this one. We take our friendship and coming out of University of Arizona, and we're going on this boys trip every year to Flagstaff. A handful of us just getting out there, and our careers are developing over the years. Craig, as a young up and coming Allstate agency owner with 2 locations. My career took the path of sales, kind of growing up in and under Tony Robbins, and different challenges and opportunities that we were having. So Craig's trying to figure out this piece, like how do I hire and how do I train these LSPs, or what are called licensed sales producers, to produce more, hire and sell. So like I'm kind of coaching Craig, working with him as his friend, and Craig's producing, you know, more and more results, moving kind of from middle of the road towards one of the top producers. And in my career, you know, I'm focused on sales, and you know, for those of you who know that Tony Robbins, a lot of it is psychology. And so I was really starting to study and understand what are specific attributes that make up sales in specific roles. And I got certified in an instrument to qualify and test for certain attributes that show up time and time again in sales. So just, year in, year out. And then, for me, I wanted to get this out in a big way. And Craig and I had always we're talking about how we could collaborate and how we could do different stuff. So about 3 or 4 years ago, right? 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we took our first shot at it. And we were like big and bold. We're gonna create an assessment that's specific for the Allstate space, and we're gonna hire developers in India to create this platform.
Yeah.
And it was the typical, if you build it, they will come. And we had so much fun building it, and not so much fun spending all the money on the development of it
Right.
and stuff. But we were certain we had this platform, and it was color coded, and
So certain.
Yeah, so certain. The reps were going to take it, and then we had to pay to have that platform developed. We had to pay to have a website developed. We found a friend who knew how to use MailChimp, and so we were coordinating all these pieces, and there was some magical ding start. And it was like $300 or $400, and we were going to do these webinars, and week in and week out, we'd sign up 1 or 2 people. And I think the most we got it like $3,000 or $4,000, and it's just that story where we had this concept, this idea in mind that we thought for certain was going to be the big hit, the big win.
Yeah.
Right. And even though that provided him a ton of value, it wasn't the right thing at the right time, and we weren't in a position to pivot or do anything, and we spent a lot of money. Long story short, like, that endeavor failed, despite building something of value in this current reiteration we have some form of, but through that whole methodology and having to invest and do all that and not being able to do and build the things we couldn't, it wasn't a success.
Yeah.
I think
So-
I think we fell into a common trap, which is creating something that you think is going to work,
Yeah.
versus figuring out what the market wants and then delivering to the market.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it is what we have is similar, but it was in how it was presented to the market.
Yeah, and this is interesting. So you mentioned that you put in a lot of money in some of these earlier endeavors.
Yes.
Would you be willing to share how much it took you to get something off the ground before you got into Kajabi, and then what it looked like after?
Yeah, I mean, it was somewhere between 40 and 50 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. And a lot of that had to do with a different philosophy then too, was like, if you build it, or not if you build it, they will come, but burn the boats.
Yeah.
So for me, I was going to be this entrepreneur, where Craig kept his day job, the guy, another partner with us, kept his day job. So part of that cost was, I was like, it's going to take all of me.
Yeah.
So I was making no income. So the cost of being able to do this without having income was pretty significant. Now it's cool because made all that back.
Yeah.
But it was a great learning experience. I mean, we're having so much fun along the way. I mean, people talk about, if you could do what you're doing and not get paid, would you still love it? That was that experience for me, because we were having so much fun. We were jiving, we were interacting, we were solving and trying to figure stuff out, and making no money.
Right.
So that was kind of the seed that was, even though it ended, we were like, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do something together again. And we kept that out there. Craig got back to producing. I had to go back to like a sales job and just making money. But we kept that seed planted.
And a big takeaway is also, as entrepreneurs and anybody who's on the Kajabi platform, or anybody that wants to start out, will think that they need to build this massive thing like what Neil was talking about, and you don't. You need to take to market the minimum viable product, right? Something that they'll look at,
Yeah.
and then if it's what they want, then you start building out after it. It's almost like creating a city that somebody's driving down the street and the next block isn't built yet.
Yeah.
But if they start driving, they go down that street, then hey, let's throw up the next block, and all of a sudden you have something.
Yeah, iteration. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so you had tried these things in the past, right? And you still wanted to figure out a way to make these ideas happen and package them in a way that worked. So before we ended up on that roof, what were you guys thinking of doing? Like, what was the plan?
I think we were talking about it. We were keeping in touch. To be honest with you, I was still kind of licking my wounds. Craig was like, we got to get back out there. We got to get back out there. We already have the sales framework. We know how to hire. Let's do it. Let's be more nimble. Let's put it out there. He came up with this concept of let's add agency processes to it. And let's do videos, let's do training, let's keep it real simple.
Yeah.
So he was getting me kind of warmed up to the idea again. But keep in mind, we didn't know about Kajabi yet. So I was looking like, all right, well, what's the database where we keep all these things? And, there's a couple sales guys. So I'm thinking, okay, Amazon Web Services.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, Craig, we can't outsource to have someone else build the website. And he's like, well, I could figure out WordPress. And then we're like, yeah, Dom seemed to understand how MailChimp works. So we're like, we could do it. And I was excited, but I was also kind of overwhelmed because even though the first go around cost money,
Yeah.
other people who knew how to do those things were doing them.
Yeah.
So we could pay them to do their talent and do it. Now we're like, okay, we're going to do that stuff that we don't have talent in. We're not going to pay money, but how are we going to build a world-class website? How are we going to email market? Where does all this go? What is a database?
Yeah.
So I was kind of like excited, but like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean that was what our conversation was like that night. I mean, you're kind of telling me about these things and asking me like, how can we put this together? What do you think
All
about
these
WordPress
layers.
and all that? And I just like, dude, I've got the answer right here. Time out, right? And that's when I told you about Kajabi. Now, what was interesting is like, I think some of the things you were talking about initially didn't really fit into Kajabi's like all-in-one solution. So what were some of the changes that you made in order to kind of make it fit so you didn't have to have all these startup costs?
Well, it was changing from, I think the original concept was it was going to be all these downloads. You download this sheet, it shows you how to do this. You download all these things, and I think the original vision was almost like a Google Drive that they would go to, right?
Yeah.
And then when you presented the idea, it was like, whoa, wait, okay, we can make these videos, so we'll actually have tutorials. Now there's a place to do it, and there's a back end that integrates, and the folks can, it just pays and it works.
Yeah.
So it changed the game. It created, like Kenny talks about the Legos. Once we understood it's Legos, you can just kind of mix and match and put it together. It changed everything.
Was there a learning curve when you first got started? Was it overwhelming?
Yeah, it was very overwhelming because as technologically challenged as I am, Neil's even more so. So the burden then fell upon me to learn a lot of these things. And then shortly thereafter, then Premiere came out, which changed the game.
Yeah.
And then the pipelines. And then so, it seems that we've grown alongside Kajabi in that you guys, the developers, have come up with these solutions that then, like right when we needed pipelines, it was there. And it changed everything.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool to also learn how the stuff worked on the back too. So
yeah, I was pretty impressed actually that you weren't like calling me every night going, hey, how do I do this?
I knew that that I would drive you bonkers.
You would have, for sure.
But there was this fun part to it because you have to keep in mind we still had jobs.
Yeah.
Right. So there would always be this. Craig would say, well, Scotty says. So I'd be like, okay, dude. So Craig's in Tucson. I'm in San Diego. All right. So now all of a sudden we're going to build this website. Right. So I'm like, all right, we've got to get together. Each of the next 4 weekends. It's probably going to take us 2 months to build this website. And it was like, no, Scotty said it takes 2 days. I'm like, 2 days? There's no way. Yeah.
something close to that.
Or maybe it was Andy.
A weekend.
Yeah, Andy
said,
always had us believe we could do whatever.
Yeah.
You'll finish in a weekend.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
I was like, all right, well, let's start with the first weekend. And literally, like, lo and behold, as we were going through it, and Craig's right. He really took the bull by the horn in understanding how to use Kajabi technologically, and we would be in this conference room, 3-4 nights in a row, 12-14 hour days, but it was just stepping through the process. The reality of it is the only reason it was that many hours was because we had so much content we wanted to put in across 3 drives.
Yeah.
But the doing it, the setting it up and everything was actually quite easy.
Yeah, once we had it.
Simple.
Once we had the content, then it was just, it was like Kenny says, it was the Legos, just stack the Legos, and all of a sudden we did have a castle. So
Nice. So how long was it before you realized that you didn't have to do your entire video in a single take?
Oh, you had to pull that out. So there was a time when before I even knew what iMovie was, where I would shoot the video, and if I messed up 3 minutes in, I would restart. And so we were doing these videos. Oh, you messed up. We got to do another take. And once editing came into the equation, that also helped change. So there's been a lot of iterations along the way.
Are we going to get to see the blooper reel anytime soon?
It's a possibility. There's a lot of we're going to have to do a lot of bleeping.
Yeah, bleeping on the blooper. Awesome. Bleep, bleep. So we were hanging out last night, and I think the funniest story I've heard about this whole journey. You know what I'm going to ask, right? Okay, so I'm going to quiz you right now. What is the definition of penultimate?
Second to worst, but it shouldn't be. And my argument is, penultimate sounds as if it is the ultimate.
It kind of does.
It does. It's better than ultimate.
So what happened? Why is this so funny?
Well, I mean, we were on such a high. Like, stuff was happening so fast with our launch and with Kajabi and everything. We scripted out the first 13 weeks. And the magnets were going to do this, and then people were going to raise their hand, and stuff was going to happen, and it was like blowing through. And we were of success, and we just ran out of adjectives. Okay, this is awesome. This is great. This is extraordinary. This is remarkable. Wow, this is the ultimate. I mean, we just ran out of stuff, and I don't know. I think it came to me. I mean, I'm a little bit crazy. I'm like, oh, this is the penultimate, and we really sunk our teeth into that.
Love the word penultimate.
Loved it. It was in the text, and it was. Then we started getting kind of funny with it. We put in some copy, and
it was on the page
that it was the best.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you can tell the story because I remember getting the text.
My wife's Brazilian, as you know, and so she speaks Portuguese, and she said, you guys keep saying penultimate, and I'm thinking penultimo is penultimate, or the similar adjective in Portuguese, and I said, well, okay, and she said, well, but that's the thing is that means second to worst, and I thought, well, that can't be possible, right? And so sure enough, we look it up, and it does mean second to worst. At least it's not the worst.
Right.
And when Craig texted it to me, I said this, like my heart just dropped, like all the air came out of the balloon. It was the ultimate whoa, whoa, whoa. We had finally found this word to describe the experience of our success. And it's a word that no one had ever used, and there's a reason no one's using it, because no one wants to be the second worst. So I'm like, that can't be right, and he's like, dude, I looked it up.
That is so awesome. So what happened when you got rid of penultimate?
It's been a struggle.
The struggle's real.
Things are remarkable. We're still getting the results and better results. So we've in-house, we've stuck with penultimate because it is extraordinary. It's beyond description.
Yeah.
But it's no longer in our copy because I don't think that would pull quite as well. No one's looking to be the second worst.
I thought it was super funny because Craig told me about that, and then you guys had a really good month, right? I want to talk about that in a minute. But you were getting a bunch of sales the other day, and you go, Neil said penultimate.
I'm bringing it back. It just is not.
It's
behind the curtain.
for internal use only.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. So you guys, you've had some challenges, some struggles. We were just laughing about some of the silly ones. But has there ever been a time when it really got real and you were like, I don't know if we can do this? Were you ever ready to give up, or has it been pretty smooth sailing this time around?
I've never been in a position where I even considered giving up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even on the table.
Yeah.
Even if we went a month with not a single, we call them dings every time somebody buys, it's ding. But that wouldn't be on the table.
Yeah, we have definitely, I'd say, had 4 or 5 weeks that were pretty discouraging because it seemed like all the stuff that was working in the past wasn't working. But I mean, not even close to giving up, because we really do believe in how we're helping people, and literally the Kajabi platform has allowed us to help them to solve their challenges. So we just have to get creative. And I think for us as sales reps, sales career, it's an identity change.
Yeah.
Right? Kajabi has enabled us to go through an identity change, right? So we know we can sell. There's nothing more to figure out as to whether or not we can sell. What's been fun and fulfilling about this ride is we didn't know before whether we could be successful online marketers or create a successful online business. For us, this is all about leverage and value, like providing value to our clients, to our end users, and we've got pretty juicy outcomes that we want to achieve, and this is just the beginning of it.
Yeah. But
a platform like this has created leverage for us, and we won't give up because it's so fun trying to figure out, can we have impact and make revenue for our families online, right? When you were on vacation last week, he was here with you in Newport. I was with my family in Minnesota. Craig talks about these dings. I mean, our phone is literally going off with notifications.
You had the best month.
We had the best week since we started.
Yeah.
You know, the best month, and it's so fun. You know, people are like, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you looking at your phone?" You know, and it's not Facebook. It's not. It's not
Stripe
Instagram,
notifications.
We're sitting on the beach and Craig is going TE over there looking at his phone. Look at this.
We're sitting on the beach. I sat on the beach, rode waves, and then said, "Look, we made $6,000 today." I mean, that's remarkable.
It is. I think there's an important distinction though in that, because it is still not that easy.
Right.
Like, I hate the cliche making money while you're sleeping. Even though that's our ultimate outcome, we have to do the work while we're awake to make money while we sleep. And I think the biggest breakthrough for me in the first 5 or 6 months of this is that when we hit that dip, it can't be a dip. I mean, excuse me, it must only be a dip. It can't be a fizzle.
Right.
So if you keep doing the same stuff, you're not gonna get the same results. So what's interesting and different than in our sales careers is it's the foundation and the repetition of doing the same stuff that makes you successful in sales. So it's not doing 10,000 things, it's doing 10 things 10,000 times. Well, here we had to figure out and iterate, what do we do next? What value do we create? And that's what we said, all right, well, we already have almost 400 clients. Let's come up with something new, some offer to train them through a course. And then so it was like this new offering that created new revenue for us. But at the same time, you could only participate in this if you were a member. So from our existing membership, we developed a whole new stream of revenue that was very exciting. And even though it's one-off, it's a 4-week live course that we're doing. But for those people that were drawn in because they wanted to do the live training, for them to get the best deal and get the most value out of it, they had to sign up for it.
Yeah.
So I'd say the biggest breakthrough for me is like there's no there. And the good news with a platform like Kajabi is it's set up in such a way that we can continue to iterate and test stuff. And I think we got to be real with ourselves. We'll probably test some stuff at some point that it's not going to work out as well.
Yeah.
But we can just keep doing it.
Right.
That's awesome. So you did a live webinar, and you did your first one this week, right? While on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Well, it went great. I mean, what was exciting about it is we created the webinar as a course. So I think the biggest breakthrough for us with Kajabi was not so much that it's like the YouTube of our business, but the course structure, so that we could set up these vaults with these lessons and take people through courses. So what we realized too is just because it's online and available on demand doesn't mean people are going to consume it and do it all the time. And so we kind of co-created this breakthrough. Let's train them on it. Let's offer to train their reps. So what's fascinating is we promoted, marketed, and sold a live 4-week training to cover our 7-step sales process, which we didn't have to create anything new or do anything different. Literally all we were doing was delivering live the content that we already created in our MVP. But now we got 4 or 5 months under our belt and we have real live interaction, right? So it's like they prepaid for that, and now many of them are going to use it because they did it. They participated live with us. It was interactive, and now we have new content for what we're together and doing this weekend is creating it. So I don't know, it's kind of a long answer to your short question, but it was fun because it was live and interactive. But what was fascinating was we didn't have to create or build something brand new. And now it's like we brought them back to where they can access it in Kajabi. So we did it. We lifted the muscles with them. We showed them how to do it today and Wednesday. And we've got 3 more weeks, but now they go back to the courses in Kajabi. The scripts, the worksheets are all there. So this time around, it should create more stickiness for them, because we really want them to be using and getting the value out of what we've done.
Right.
That's smart.
It touched on all 3 prongs of a business strategy, right? Because we have the retention, because the current customers and clients are like, oh, here's another offering, right? So it makes them more sticky. We had the development strategy, and then we had the acquisition, because we're bringing on the new folks that want to be in the class, but then they also must be a member.
Yeah.
So it worked on all 3 fronts.
Awesome.
I think that's, I keep saying the biggest breakthrough, but it's all coming to me in real time, and we've named it. It's RAD, okay, retention, acquisition, development. So, clearly you guys get this, because the whole platform is about retaining these clients. I mean, every month that they stay in our membership, that they stay in our program, is far more profitable and is producing far more cash than what it costs to acquire somebody new each month. Right? So by adding and providing value through adding and updating all the courses in Kajabi, we're retaining them. This idea to do a live training was the development arm. So we've got to keep developing. We've got to offer new things, offer innovative things. So it also creates new revenue stream, but it also functions as acquisition. And then we know, even in our world, it's a small pond. There's a limited number of Allstate agencies. There's still plenty more to acquire. And then ultimately, because we've tested this here, we're going to be looking to take it out into other markets. That's what I was excited about our conversation about last night.
Yeah.
We'll get to that after this interview.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come with my own Scotty says.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty awesome that you guys have, like, I think the sales background, like, it seems like it helps so much, right? But I wanted to ask, so a year ago you didn't have this side hustle going on, right? And now you do, and it's working. How has that changed things in your life? How is that? What does that extra cash actually mean for you?
Well, for me, what it's meant is I'm actually very quickly going through the debt that I built up from these other entrepreneurial endeavors, because I actually ventured into some other things with other partners outside of Craig, doing the same kind of things. If you build it, if you will come. So that debt is quickly reducing itself. But it's actually, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because it's the why behind it. It's
right.
Creating freedom, flexibility. My wife is getting to do some of the things that she wants in terms of remodeling around the house, and it's. I mean, again, I don't love the cliche, but it's actually creating a multiple of our labor. So typically in sales, it's your revenue, while high, is a product of how many calls can you do, how many appointments can you take, what can you do.
Yeah.
This has created not only this one-to-many approach, but this leverage that's creating revenue. And I don't know about Craig,
like
but there's
compound interest.
Compound
Yeah.
interest, right?
Yeah.
There's a part of me that I almost, because it's only been 5 months. I mean, to think, a couple sales guys, in less than 6 months' time, we will have generated $100,000. Our overhead is, I don't even know that we've spent 10 grand yet.
Yeah.
So it's a part of me is like, I haven't even allowed myself to think that this is, it could someday be something where we quit the day jobs and this becomes our business.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So one of our core values at Kajabi, and one that's particularly important to me, is balance, right? Compared to your previous endeavors, how has this felt different in terms of balance? Like, is it less stressful? Has Kajabi made things easier?
Oh, definitely made everything easier and created more balance.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been out of my office for almost a month, right? It was 2 weeks in Hawaii, 2 weeks here. So it's just to tailspin off of what Neil's been saying. It does give you the leverage.
We were having fun before, right? So before, when we did it, like, we were having a ton of fun, but not making any money. Now it's like we're having a ton of fun and making a lot of money, but it's so the fun is still there, but it's like figuring out, again, it comes back to this change in identity. I mean, Craig has become like a CTO of sorts. I mean, if people in our world kind of laugh, make fun, like, are you sure? Like, you go to that website, it looks like somebody who knew what they were doing built it.
Yeah.
Now, those of us that know Craig know, how is that possible? And for me, I might have given up. If you talk about giving up, I would have had to really be a lot of more work. But like, the man has done it. He's pressed the buttons. All the support we've been given by Kajabi has enabled us to create not only a world-class website, but the ability for people to seamlessly interact with our value. I mean, it's very easy for them to go in, do the courses, get the trainings, and it's very easy for us to market. Now, it's not the silver bullet. It's not just because we're using Kajabi, and our marketing is gold. We've done a lot of things that have produced crickets. So, for every ding, there's 60% more crickets. But
at least you don't have to worry about technology.
Right. At least we don't have to worry about technology, and I think that's what staves off giving up.
Yeah.
Because it's not hard to do. Right. The things that we have to figure out are how to get people's attention, but the vehicle to get their attention is totally doable for us with Kajabi.
Absolutely. And it's that cricket versus the ding. I mean, we're gonna get crickets, and it happens, and then it's like, okay, that one didn't work. Let's do another one. And I mean, even down to the little concepts in the mailer and the broadcasting, where we just recently, I mean, after being successful, recently figure out, you can filter out and send to people who haven't opened it. These little details it's a game changer, right? Like, there's been so many game changers along the way, and we say it so often. It's very remarkable. But just that little thing, being able to test and test and test and test, and find out which ones work. If I was to give advice to somebody that's starting off with the site, it's just keep testing.
Yeah.
If you know that if there's a market and people have raised their hands, then you know that you can continue to test. I mean, there are going to be the ones that there's no nobody raises their hand. That's fine. Try another one. Just keep trying, because eventually somebody's going to raise their hand.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I wanted to ask was, what would you say to someone who's just getting started, or maybe like wants to get started but is like running up against resistance, or it's having a hard time taking those first steps?
Well, designing the site and putting it together is simple. That once you understand it, and I think with some of the new Kajabi iterations, there's it's easy, right? With Premiere, so we don't even need to talk about that. It's learning how to market to whoever your market is, right? So learning about copywriting, learning about catchy titles and headlines, because you have such a small fraction of time to get their interest. And that's where the big difference between what we know as sales guys, because we're used to pounding them on the phone, it's a lot different than pounding them through emails, right? And not necessarily pounding them, but having the right amount. It's a delicate balance of over emailing somebody and they hit unsubscribe, and having just the right stuff and the right timing that they go, that's interesting. I want to take a look at that, because as we've talked with Jcron, the president here, just different ideas about, we need to catch their eye with the headline, with the title of the email. Then we need to get them to click on the link once they open the email. So being real strategic about how you deliver that message, and then getting them to actually take action.
Awesome. So how much have you learned since you've started using Kajabi?
I don't even, multitudes of information. I feel like I have the Smithsonian in my head. When we think about a year ago, none of this existed. Yeah. I mean, from where we were a year ago to when I brought it up to you, Scotty, to now, you can't even put a quantifiable measurement on what we've learned. Yeah. Even this guy is getting in and making broadcasts and changing and adding links. He's like, I put a graphic in there and I made a link on it. It's like, wow. Yeah, we're breaking through. He's the mini CTO.
Yeah, that's why we got a good and yin and yang. I would say for somebody like myself, I think the number one thing I would recommend for somebody new is just take action. Like the video, like when we sat down and started to build the site, we literally watched those videos step by step where Kenny was talking about those Lego pieces, and it's just like, don't ask yourself questions. I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. Just do it. It's like, it tells you what to do, like giving you the instructions to put the Legos together. Just do it. Like, we tested a video, we had fun just screwing around to see what it looked like. I mean, it's so easy. So get out of your head that says, oh God, this must be really difficult. That's why these big companies pay this big money to do it. Like, when you do what they tell you to do in those videos, it's not difficult.
Yeah.
And even with the marketing, and maybe you'll have to cut this piece out, but like the marketing you guys send us, a lot of the ideas we've gotten from it, we just change it. So luckily we're not selling to the same area, but it's very effective.
So you're learning from Kajabi's own marketing.
Not learning.
But-
we're producing results
Yeah.
from Kajabi's own marketing.
And do it and test it. What a lot of folks do is they get concerned that they're going to miss their opportunity if they send it out and somebody doesn't like it. It's like, no, just send it.
Yeah.
If you have an idea and you think that it may work and you want to do it, just send it. Because only 9% of the people are going to actually open that email anyway. And of the 9%, only 1% is actually going to click on it. So who cares?
Yeah.
Send it out. Test it. The only way to find out if it's going to work or not is to put it out there. And so being afraid, I remember at the beginning, it was Neil saying, well, we have to make sure. It's like, going back to that, I know it's no, just send the damn thing out, and they're either going to raise their hand or they're not. And who cares? Because you're going to send it out again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And that's one of the hugest takeaways. And he's let go now.
Yeah, I've let
Neil's
go
like,
in a big
just
way.
send it. He used to say, well, you didn't clear it. We need to agree.
I need to look at it.
We need to be unanimous that it's okay to send it out. It's like, who cares? Send it with emojis and alarm clocks and whatever. Just send it out. And if they don't like it, great, send it again. Without the rocket ship in the title or whatever. It doesn't matter. You just do it. It really is down to just do it.
Just do it.
And the visibility, I think, has been important to me. Like, that's how my mind works, to see how it works. Because if you're going to send it out and it doesn't work, like, we have visibility into it to see it. Like, if they've never opened it, it's almost like it didn't happen. So resending it again to the people that didn't open it is creating that experience for them for the first time. And then having visibility and understanding the path, whether or not they opened it, whether or not they clicked through, whether that engaged them or unfortunately may have caused them to unsubscribe. And then I think when pipelines came out, it gave us visibility not only to how people are interacting with the email, but then how they're interacting with the magnet, the value added piece that we've created for them, and then where and what caused them to sign up. So what's fascinating to me is, I talk about it like the value chain. It's like, if something breaks down in between the email and the magnet, or the magnet and the offer and these types of things, they'll never get there. So recently, and I don't know because I don't know all the technical aspects, I think it was with pipelines, but we got far greater visibility into each of those connection points, those chains, because then it's on us to tweak and make it better to get them all the way through.
Get them excited.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get them to sign up.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome.
But even being persevering and continuing to send it with that, it's like it didn't happen if they didn't open it. And at the beginning, we would send it and then that was it. If they didn't open it, they wouldn't see it again. And now they didn't open it, send it again. They didn't open it, send it again every day. And that's when this month, where we talk about this is the best month that we've had, and that was one of the things that we learned and implemented. It was just like, we're not actually showing the same person isn't seeing the same email 8 times, but we sent it out 8 times. So it's all about timing with your potential clients.
All right, guys, thanks for coming in. Awesome to finally have you in the office. I know it's probably pretty exciting, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I just want to wish you continued penultimate success.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Nothing but penultimate for us.
Penultimate.
Greg, thanks again. See you guys later.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kajabi.
Thanks, Kajabi.